Good morning, welcome to Dimensioning Practice, and we're going to let you try to dimension in Inventor now that you've been practicing on paper a little bit. You need to download this file, it's a Inventor part file from the LMS, but you are not going to open this file, okay? So make sure you understand you're going to download it. You need to move it in Windows Explorer, make sure you get it in the folder path that you want and know where it is, okay? But don't open it. You're going to create a new file that is a drawing file. This is an actual part file. If I go to Inventor and you were to open that part, you've got this part file where it's been created, and that's not what we want. Okay, so you want to open Inventor, and you want to click on New. Actually, click on New, don't hover and get this option. I'll show you. If you hover and this expands and you choose Drawing, you're not going to get the title block that we want. So if you actually click on New, you get this menu right here where you should have the Edgewood Drawing title block as a choice. So click on that one and say Create. And here's a drawing block for us. That's 8.5 by 11. It prints nicely on our paper. And you know, it's customized for us. Okay, so this is a drawing sheet for documentation, and we're going to go ahead and put that part that was created onto this sheet. We want to bring in our base view is going to be the front. We'll do a front, top, right isometric. So you choose base, you choose front for the orientation. I'm going to move this menu to the side a little bit. I hope I'll bring it back when I need. And I'm not clicking yet, I'm just bringing my mouse over. I get a preview of what view is going to be created as the base view. And so you can see the front is the one I want. But you can actually create your base view and then your projections go off of that. So I'm going to left click one time to place the base view, and it's not going to actually place it yet, but it's going to give me a square where it's going to be located. Okay, and now I'm going to move up to create a top view. Okay, the direction I go is based on those standards, and it's going to create the appropriate view. So I'm going to come up to get the top view. I'm going to go to the right, and it'll automatically create the right view. And then I'm going to go diagonally up and right, and it'll give me the front, top, right ISO. And I'm going to put that over here in the corner. So all of those were left clicks. So left click, left click, left click, diagonally, left click. When you're done placing all those views, you can see where they're going to go. You right click and say Create. All right, you can always hit undo and try again, or Control Z if that didn't work. All right, now to dimension this sheet, our dimensioning tool is under the Annotate tab. And before I start to dimension, we're going to add a couple other marks. You notice that I have a hole in this part. I want to mark the center of that hole. And again, I'm in the Annotate tab. Right here I have some tools that I'm going to use. This is the center mark. Okay, I'm going to click on it. I'm going to come to the view that has the circle, and I'm going to find the center of the hole, and I'm going to click on it. And it applies a center mark. And I can now use those to dimension to. I also can see this hole, although it's hidden, it's acknowledged in the right view with these two dashed lines, these two hidden lines. This tool right here is a centerline bisector. If I choose two lines, it will create a centerline in the middle. So I have to choose two. It's a bisector. It cuts through the middle of two things. So I'm going to choose this edge, not a point, but I want the edge, and this edge. And it applies a center mark right between those two. And I also I'm going to do the same thing up here, but I have to pay attention to what lines to create. This line right here, while it's not a hidden line, is in line with the edge of the circle. So these two actually fall right in line with each other. And we remember that if you have an object line and a hidden line, you only put the object line. So we're going to choose this as basically where the edge of our circle is. This edge of our circle, if you trace it up, is the hidden line. So I'm going to choose these two lines, 1, 2, to create a center mark between those. And that acknowledges in the top and the right where the center of my hole is. Okay, now I'm going to use the dimensioning tool. Left click on the dimensioning tool. And I see contour here for the widths right here. So I'm going to go ahead and dimension the widths right here. I'm going to go kind of from the small ones. Let's see, get these two contours. And then I'm going to get the overall. And the overall should be placed the furthest away. Alright, I do have the circle though that it's going to need to be located. And so to locate it, I need a horizontal distance, kind of a width, how far over, and I'll need to know how far the center is up. So I'm also going to dimension from this left side to that center mark, and I'll tuck that in right there. Okay, so I should have all of my necessary widths at this point. Let's move to heights. Okay, to heights I'm going to need to locate the center of the hole again, so I'll go ahead and do that. That's a shorter distance, so I'll put that in close. I need to get the height of this piece. Okay, and sometimes extension lines do need to run through the part. It's not great, but it's, necessary in this case. Okay, because whether I dimensioned it here or here, I would have to do that. I need the overall height, which is up to here. Okay, and if I'm done with the dimensioning tool, I can right click and say OK, and notice the dimensioning tool turned off. I'm not actually done with it, but I wanted you to see how to turn it off. I'm going to actually move this right view to the right a little bit and give myself just a little more space. See how it's getting close? To move a view, I bring my arrow close to that view, and notice I get that red dotted line around it. I'm going to click and hold, and then I'm just going to drag. That's how I can move these around. So once they're placed, you can still move them and readjust. Okay, so I don't have all the heights. I also need this height over here, and it's better to dimension that height on the left since that's where it is. I know our preference is to dimension between the adjacent views to put it here, but if I put it over here, notice that it's got to go pretty far and through the piece, and it's just nicer to put it here. Okay, so we have all of our heights, we have all of our widths, and the only thing left is our depth for all the kind of principal directions. We've got one thing after that. The depth is either going to be shown here or here. And it doesn't matter which one I do, but I don't want both. So I'm going to hit undo to undo that last one. And I'll just leave it up here. Lastly, I am going to add the dimensions for the hole, the circle, as well as this arc. Again, to deselect a tool, you can hit the escape key generally a couple times, or you can right click and say OK or cancel. But choosing the dimension tool, you should, when you choose this round feature, notice the little icon I get next to my arrow, and that is showing a diameter. Okay, so I'm going to actually pull it over here. I'm going to grab the circle. I just clicked once, I didn't click and hold. And then I'm going to pull down, and notice it automatically created a leader line. It knows that we use leader lines for circles and arcs. And it automatically makes it have a little horizontal tail at the end. Okay, it should be diagonal. Notice it's actually pointing it right to the center. It also should do that. And I'm just going to place it in a neat and organized place. So I left click now, and it placed it. I don't have a great place to do this arc because I don't want to come this way and come at it. So it's a geometry word, but this would be like a tangent. I don't want to be along close to the tangent. I really want to be, I think, more perpendicular to the curve. So I am going to bring it this way. I'm going to cross an extension line. That's not my favorite thing to do, but it is what I'm going to do. Notice the symbol. There you go. Notice the symbol right now is showing a radius because this is an arc, not a full circle. But I'm going to go ahead and click here. I'm going to pull it this way and just try to make sure that it's kind of as neat as possible and not over, I don't want to overlap all those dimension lines at all, so that would not look nice. So I want to get it placed so that it's, got some space between the border and that extension line to read the number. And I'd like the leader line also to not be going across as much as possible. So I think right here is kind of a fairly neat place to put it. So I'll left click to place it. The dimension tool is still on. I'm going to hit escape to turn it off. And that's it for dimensioning, but I'll show you one more thing. Let's make the isometric shaded to have the color that the part actually had. We never color these views, just so you know. We never color the orthographics. We only would shade the ISO. But go and find that red dashed line around the ISO right there, left click, okay, and then right click on it. Actually, you probably didn't need to left click, and say edit view. So find this edit view, and then you bring up this dialog box, and right down here under style there's a little icon that if you hover over it, it has to do with shaded. You can turn shading on and off. So I'll turn it on. If you notice, it kind of moves. So when it's down, it's on. When it's up, it's off. There you go. And if you would like, you can go ahead and use the Snip tool now. And you can take a snip of it. Oh, actually, let's do one other thing. I'll show you how to put your name on it. Yeah, let's not take a snip yet. So cancel that. All right, I'd like to have your name in here. So let's go up to the Inventor, the Program menu, and go to Properties. So Inventor menu, Properties, and then go to Summary tab. And these fields right here are the fields in your title block. So you can change the author to your name. Put your name right there. And the title, you can put Dimensioning Practice B. Hit apply and close, and you'll notice the title block down here updated with your name, and it's Dimensioning Practice B. Now you can take a snip. Save this in the exact same place on your computer where you save the part file. Okay, so you can save that. I'm not going to. You can also, the drawing sheet that you just created is not the part file that you downloaded, so you need to save this as well. And so you can go ahead and hit File and Save, or Save As if you are just double checking where it's been saving. Save As and Save are the same thing for the very first time you save. So you'd want to go in here and you would want to just manage where you're saving your stuff. So for me, I've got IED, Unit 3, and I've got a folder for Inventor stuff, and I would have Dimensioning Practice B, and I'm going to call this the demo file. Okay, and then I save it. And so if you get this selected location is not in the active project, that's okay. We're saving it where we want to save it. An active project is something else. So if you know you're putting it in the right place where you wanted it, then that's fine. So do you wish to continue? Yes, I do. And you're done. So you can turn in that snip, and I will give you a little extra credit for doing it in Inventor as well as on paper. Great job.